Hey, child of God, how much you receive of God's abundant blessings is in direct proportion to how much you give back of the blessings that He's already bestowed upon you. In fact, you can say it this way, the more you give, the more you will get. And Jesus did not say to them whom much is given, some will be required or little will be required. No, He said to whom much is given, much will be required. Luke 12:48. For unto whomsoever much is given, of him shall much be required, and to whom men have committed much, of him they will ask even the more. Sir Winston Churchill said one time, we make a living by what we get, but we make a life by what we give. Now I want you to write this next statement down and get it in your spirit. Giving is an attitude before it's ever an action. Let me say it again. Giving is an attitude before it's ever an action. The Holy Spirit is a person with a generous, giving attitude. People with a giving attitude don't stop to calculate the cost when a need's presented. They just move ahead. And being cheap, stingy, miserly, that's not of God. And it's definitely not how God wants us to act. Exodus 35:5 says, take you from among you an offering unto the Lord. Whosoever is of a willing heart, let him bring it. An offering of the Lord, gold, silver, and brass. 2 Corinthians 9:7 says, every man according as he purposed in his heart, so let him give, not grudgingly or of necessity, for God loveth a cheerful giver. You know, I remember the story. I read it in one of the chicken soup books years ago. It's written by a lady named Valerie Cox. And she told the story of a woman who was, she was in an airport waiting for a flight home one night. And she had several long hours before the flight. So she went in the gift shop hunting for a book. She found the book she wanted, and she bought a bag of cookies and went back to the terminal area or gate area and found a place to sit down. She was engrossed in reading her book when she just happened to look over and see the man next to her reaching in the bag of cookies and grabbing a cookie out and looking at her and smiling as he ate it. Well, I want to tell you, she was upset about that. How dare this man reach into her bag and get cookies? So she reached down and got one and started eating it. And then the man would look at her and smile and he'd get another cookie. And this went on as they went through the bag of cookies. And she was getting madder and madder and madder about it. Really mad. And finally, the man went in the bag and pulled out the last cookie. And he smiled and broke it in half and gave her a half. She ate it, but she's so glad that they called her flight because she just knew if he does this, if he does anything else, I'm going to give him a black eye. But she went to the gate to get on her flight. She didn't even look back. She got on the plane still complaining and murmuring about that man, that cookie thief, who really was eating her cookies. The flight leveled off and they were able to take things out of their bags. She went and looked at her book so she could finish it. She reached down for the book. She happened to feel. And when she felt, what she felt was her bag of cookies. You see, the woman had been eating out of the man's bag of cookies. But he smiled and was willing to share the entire time. See, we need to have that kind of attitude. We need to be willing to share ours. And what we've got to be generous, to be a blessing. Isaiah 32:8 in the Living Bible says, but good men will be generous to others and will be blessed of God for all they do. Generosity will make you inwardly wealthy before it makes you outwardly wealthy. Proverbs 11:24 and 25 in the Amplified Bible. It is possible to give freely and become more wealthy, but those who are stingy will lose everything. The generous will prosper and are satisfied. Those who refresh others will themselves be refreshed. Generosity, being willing to share, opens the door to greater blessings and opportunities. Just make sure you're not a cookie thief. And that's what I call some rich thoughts.